The Dead Sea Scrolls are considered the greatest discovery of the 20th century. And tonight, they've made their way from the caves of Qumran to Jerusalem to right here in Salt Lake City.
Religion specialist Carol Makita made the journey to the Holy Land and back and is here, as the texts are as well. Carol, live at the Leonardo tonight, where they're about to go on display. Carol?
Truly incredible, Dave and Deanie. A world-class exhibit right here. I'm convinced people who come to see it will have a life-changing experience. Here is the table that houses the scrolls. It is temperature and humidity controlled. Here's an example from the book of Isaiah. Look at that beautiful writing. That's a copy, because if we would shine a light on the scrolls, it would harm the parchment. But the story of who discovered these manuscripts and where, still 60 years later, amazes people. We recently had the experience of following the history of the scrolls and talking to the Israelis who preserve and protect them. Desolate and mysterious, this landscape remains as it was more than 2,000 years ago, when members of a sect of Judaism, perhaps the Essenes, chose to leave Jerusalem and live here. We are in what used to be known as the Desert of the Holy City, now the Judean desert about 20 miles outside Jerusalem. And in these rock formations, you find the caves of Qumran.
I do believe that there is a connection.
Many scholars believe this group wrote their holy books on parchment and put those scrolls in these caves. And there they remained until 1947, when a Bedouin who was searching for his lost goat threw a stone into this cave and heard the sound of a jar shattering. Inside that jar and others, he found manuscripts. In a short time, scholars knew the writings were the find of a century.
Finally, they realized that these scrolls are written in the Hebrew language, and these are parts of the Bible.
From 11 caves eventually came thousands of fragments. Archaeologist Uzi Dahari walked us through the archaeological site.
Used to do in synagogues.
Those who lived here came to the desert for a purer life.
Pure in your mind and pure in your body.
The more than 900 scrolls written in Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek include every book of the Old Testament, except for Esther.
And we see that it's the same Bible that we have now. This is amazing.
Scholars believe the majority of the scrolls were written between 200 BC and 200 AD.
In which you can see the scholars.
By the early 1950s, 8 international scholars began working on piecing fragments together.
It was an incredible jigsaw puzzle that's still being studied.
That is still being studied.
We were given unprecedented access to the scrolls. Our cameras captured the painstaking preservation process. The environment of the caves preserved the scrolls,
in cave 4,
but light, humidity, and human handling took their toll. The first scholars attached them to glass with cellophane tape, which caused irreversible damage. Now no one ever touches the parchment surface. Cleansing is done from the back through Japanese tissue paper. Translators over the years have included BYU professors. The discoveries are awe-inspiring. It is as if the scribes themselves come to life.
Plate or part
this is the big Psalm scroll from Cave 11.
But if you look carefully again, you'll see the name of God here again. You see
each time the name of God appears, it is written in different script.
In Paleo-Hebrew.
So now what we're seeing is the infrared getting...
Technology excites researchers.
And here you can see the name of God, Elohim.
Infrared photography produces what the eye cannot see. The writing springs to life on what appears to be permanently damaged parchment.
Now it's becoming clearer and you can really see the text.
When we visited the Israel Antiquities Authority November 4th, senior conservator Tanya Beitler was examining the scrolls coming to Utah.
This condition report will travel with the scroll to Salt Lake, and at the Leonardo, she's going to open it.
We met Tanya again at the airport in Tel Aviv and traveled back to the U.S. with her and the scrolls. They are packed in temperature-controlled carrying cases that fly first class. Conservators asked us to hide the cases from view.
They're dated in several ways.
Professor Shalom Paul heads the foundation responsible for the publication of all the scrolls.
Discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls is probably the most remarkable and sensational archaeological discovery ever. And you are so fortunate to have an exhibition of these scrolls coming to Utah.
We take readings every 15 minutes.
It is something that will be very impressive and very emotional.
Now, besides the scrolls, there are rooms filled with antiquities, and this is the largest group of antiquities ever to leave the state of Israel. The exhibit opens on Thursday, runs through April, and we have information on KSL.com. Now, there's a strong connection between Utah and the scrolls because of BYU professors who've done so much work with them. That story is tomorrow in the Deseret News, and we'll also bring you a story on KSL 5 News at 10 on Sunday about how people of different faiths feel about the scrolls. Back to you.
Wow.
Wow.
We are lucky to have that exhibit here.
Yeah, so fascinating, isn't it?